The tractor was supposed to be a 2-hour repair job. I had no idea that by sunset, I would be standing in a quiet farmhouse yard watching a woman smile for the first time in months, and realizing that sometimes God sends us to fix a broken machine when what really needs repairing is a broken heart. If stories about kindness, hope, compassion, forgiveness, and second chances still mean something to you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. You never know whose heart might need to hear a story like this today. It was a cold Sunday morning in rural Iowa when I turned my old pickup onto a gravel road and headed toward a small farm belonging to a woman named Rachel Carter. I had never met Rachel before. Her neighbor, Thomas, had called me the night before and said her tractor had stopped working right in the middle of harvest preparation. Rachel was raising her 6-year-old twin daughters, Grace and Hannah, and apparently she had been trying to handle the entire farm alone since her husband passed away almost a year earlier. I almost told Thomas the first could come Monday, but something in his voice made me change my mind. So I grabbed my tools before sunrise and drove out there. When I arrived, Rachel was standing beside the old red tractor with her arms folded tightly across her chest. She looked exhausted in a way that sleep alone couldn't fix. Her brown hair was pulled into a loose ponytail, her jacket was faded, and there were shadows beneath her eyes. She thanked me quietly and explained that the tractor had been her husband's pride. He had repaired it himself over the years, and after he died, she couldn't bring herself to replace it. She knew almost nothing about engines, but she had kept trying because the farm was the only thing she had left that still felt connected to him. I could see that every time she touched the tractor, she wasn't just touching metal. She was holding onto a memory. While I worked beneath the hood, the twins watched me from the porch. They were dressed in matching blue sweaters, each holding a mug of warm cocoa. They were curious but unusually quiet. After a while, Grace came closer and asked if I could make the tractor run again. I told her I would do my best. She smiled faintly, then ran back toward her sister. I noticed Rachel watching them, and for the first time, I saw a softness in her face that disappeared almost immediately. The problem turned out to be more complicated than I expected. A damaged fuel line had caused several other issues, and one part needed to be replaced. I had the wrong piece in my truck, which meant I could either leave and return the next day or improvise a temporary repair. Rachel insisted I didn't need to stay. She said she had survived worse things than a broken tractor. But there was something about the way she said it that told me she wasn't talking about tractors. So I stayed. For several hours, I worked while the afternoon sun moved across the fields. Rachel brought me coffee and eventually sat on the porch steps. She told me that after her husband, Michael, died unexpectedly, everyone had told her to sell the farm. She had almost listened. But every time she imagined leaving, she pictured her daughters growing up without the place where their father had taught them to plant seeds, chase fireflies, and watch thunderstorms from the porch. So she stayed, even when staying became difficult. What Rachel didn't say was that she had stopped believing life could become good again. You could see it in the way she moved through the house, the way she rarely laughed, and the way she apologized whenever she needed help. She had confused being strong with never allowing anyone to carry even a small part of her burden. Near sunset, I finally got the tractor running. The engine coughed once, twice, and then settled into a steady rumble. Rachel froze. Her eyes filled with tears, and for a moment she simply stared at it. Then she covered her mouth and laughed through the tears. It wasn't a big laugh. It was quiet, surprised, almost unfamiliar to her. Behind us, the twins had been watching from the porch. Grace leaned toward Hannah and whispered something I almost didn't hear. She said that it was Mama's first smile in months. Rachel heard them. She turned around, and something changed in her expression. She walked to her daughters, knelt down, and pulled both girls into her arms. The three of them held each other while the tractor continued running behind them. I looked away because the moment felt too private to watch. But then Rachel came over and thanked me. She said I hadn't just fixed a tractor. I had reminded her that she didn't have to carry everything alone. I told her the truth, that I hadn't done anything extraordinary. I had simply stayed when leaving would have been easier. That evening, I discovered something else. Rachel's husband had once helped my father repair a tractor years earlier. I had forgotten about it until she mentioned his name. Michael had helped my family during a difficult season, never asking for anything in return. Suddenly, I understood why I had felt compelled to stay. Sometimes kindness travels through years before finding its way back home. Before I left, Rachel made one small promise to herself. She would stop treating every offer of help like a debt. She would let people care about her. And she would allow herself to smile without feeling guilty for being happy again. 6 months later, I drove back to that farm. The fields were green, the tractor was running perfectly, and laughter came from the garden. Grace and Hannah were planting flowers while Rachel stood nearby with dirt on her hands and sunlight on her face. When she saw me, she smiled, not the surprised smile from that first Sunday, but a genuine one that belonged entirely to her. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who may need encouragement, and subscribe if you want more stories about hope, kindness, and second chances. And before you go, leave a comment telling me about one person who once helped you when you needed it most. Sometimes we don't realize how powerful one small act of kindness can become in someone else's life. That Sunday, I thought I was driving to a farm to repair a tractor. I didn't know I was being given the chance to witness something much greater, a family slowly finding its way back to joy. The tractor needed a replacement part, but Rachel needed something no toolbox could provide, a reminder that broken things are not always meant to be thrown away. Sometimes, with patience, faith, and a little help from someone willing to stay, they can run again.